Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig. We very much appreciate you guys tuning in and joining us as we talk about firearms policy, Second Amendment, you name it, all gun-related all the time here on Coffee with Craig. Please make sure to like and share this video feed so that your friends can join in the conversation. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook so that you can get the alerts as they're coming. Now, found out something yesterday, which we're working on trying to address, but evidently our live feeds have been marked as explicit. So, for those of you who are wondering why you're not getting the alerts as soon as they come on, well, that's because you actually have to follow us, because just liking our Facebook page is not, unfortunately, is not enough, because we are considered explicit material. Bow, chicka, wow, wow. Yeah, so make sure you guys do that and tell your friends to do it as well so that, once again, they can join in the conversation as it is happening. Also, please remember, support our sponsors, Sacramento Black Rifle, Sparks Black Rifle. Tons of cool stuff you can find online. Find them on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, you'll find them there. And finally, FBCgear.com. Buy your T-shirts. Buy T-shirts, support the Second Amendment, and look good doing it. That's FBCgear.com. All right. Let's move on to today's topic. Now, I haven't had a chance to really kind of get into this one. It's a kind of old news, but I think it's still worth conversating about and at least sharing my perspective. A lot of you guys are familiar with the guy Cody Wilson. Cody Wilson is the founder and the head of a company called Defense Distributed. Cody Wilson actually created the first 3D printed gun, and has really kind of been fighting the government in the realm of not just the Second Amendment, but in the First Amendment. He's a little bit of an anarchist. In fact, I'll show you a quick snippet of a piece that was done on him. Please forgive some of the stuff that is in this particular piece, because it's not what I would call incredibly, not all of the terminology is appropriate or accurate, but I mean, you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about when you hear it. But I think it gives you a decent perspective of kind of who Cody Wilson is. So check it out.
These institutions are very weak, and that they're only puffing their chests up now because they have to hide how weak they are. How to hit this power, this overwhelming just net of negativity that won't allow you to be anything, do anything, think anything different, dream different dreams. And then we thought, yeah, WikiLeaks for guns. Yeah, that'll be powerful.
WikiLeaks for guns. Open source weapons, accessible to everyone. 2 years ago, when he was 25 years old, Cody made the first fully functional 3D printed gun in his workshop. 16 plastic pieces, firing real bullets. He called it the Liberator.
We stole the narrative of 3D printing. It wasn't just, oh, you're going to make, birthday cakes and prosthetics for, children with no arms. No, there's going to be weapons and there's going to be conflict. And it was a kind of little signal and all that noise of a future that wasn't supposed to happen.
A Liberator can only be fired once before it needs to be reloaded. And it's dangerous to operate. Pull the trigger and the plastic could explode. But that didn't slow the demand. When Cody published the blueprints to DefCAD, a deep web file sharing site, they were downloaded 100,000 times in just 24 hours, and inspired fellow subversives to print and share designs of their own.
I see this world that says only the state should have a monopoly on violence, and we're challenging that. The people will have the weapons. And you can argue, well, that's wrong, it shouldn't happen. Well, it's going to happen.
Any weapon.
The gun is like a well of power that you can keep drawing from. It can, like any good symbol, be used for almost anything. After I printed the Liberator, the White House directed the Department of Justice and the State Department to figure out how to stop it. So they sent a letter. They said, oh, look, this may have violated the international traffic in arms regulations. They just threatened to squash me like a bug. I have this political desire for this exact kind of trouble that's enormously pleasurable for me.
Cody took the Liberator blueprints offline and fired back with something much scarier.
I know there are multiple sizes of these, so let's get some new clips. Let's try to replace this unit.
He assembled a team of like-minded engineers and programmers to develop the Ghost Gunner.
Okay. Works for me. The Ghost Gunner is a computer-controlled milling machine. Very simple. Small little box made of metal that's controlled by software. So you can program it to do simple machining tasks. And just so happens that guns are very easy to make. The Ghost Gunner comes with the software that you need. You just run the files. The files take care of the rest. You mostly watch the machine do its work, take it out when you're done, clean it off, and build a gun.
All the parts you'll need to build your own gun are just a Google search away, including the lower receiver that houses the firing mechanism. Without a firearms license, you can only buy unfinished receivers. That's where the Ghost Gunner comes in. You can order it off Cody's website for $1,500. Put the raw lower receiver in the gunner, and in 2 hours, the machine drills it down. Instead of a plastic pistol, you've got a working AR-15 assault rifle, the weapon of choice for the American military, unregistered and untraceable.
Any gun that doesn't come through the approved, regulated commercial or legal channels is a phantom. It's something we don't know about. It haunts us. Make it in your basement, make it in a moving van. Stockpile all you want, give them to your friend, give them to your neighborhood. There's 500 Ghost Gunners floating around the country right now. Little mobile rifle factories that people are using. Who's gonna know? When I publish our data directly to the public domain, it's outside of the reach of the government, the State Department, the Defense Industrial Base, the Defense Department, Defense Technology Security Administration. They can't touch it. They're trying to touch it, but they can't. You'll notice I'm not in jail today.
No one's been killed by one of Cody's ghost guns, yet.
Okay, interesting perspective right there. Okay, don't know what's going on here. But yeah, the real interesting perspective with that whole deal. So, in essence, what's going on here, and just to kind of break it down, is recently Cody was in the midst of a lawsuit, and he was fighting the government because he wanted to publish the plans, for his Ghost Gunner, all of the blueprints, and he wanted to be able to publish them and put them in the public domain. And the Obama administration was fighting him on that. Well, now the Trump administration has basically said, no, we're not going to fight you. We're going to capitulate. We're not going to fight you on this. Number one, not only that, and I think here's the other interesting thing is they also said that, one of the reasons why they're not going to do that is because they don't see semi-automatic firearms as inherently military. You notice in the piece right there, they talked about military-grade weapons. And it's like, well, wait a minute. The choice, what did the host say? The choice of firearms for the military? No, they don't use AR-15s. They use M4s, M16s, but they don't use AR-15s. So whatever this person meant by military grade, I have absolutely no idea about what they speak. But the point, though, that I'm making here is that, here is an example where you have the First and the Second Amendment collide. You have basically the government saying, no, you cannot put this information out there. You cannot publish information that, quite frankly, is public and should be in the public domain. This is a big victory. The victory that they had was big both for the First Amendment as well as for the Second Amendment. What a lot of people don't realize who don't understand firearms is that it's a technology thing. One of the reasons why the anti-gun community just simply is so ineffective in what they're trying to do is that they don't understand it's a technology thing. And when it comes to technology, the people who are inventing, whether it's the firearms or the ways in which to manufacture the firearms, one, are way smarter than you. Number two, they're dedicated to learning and understanding the technology while you are not. So if you're going to try and fight a battle based on, and in particular, when you start talking about things as detailed as the law, and the law relating to technology, one would think that you would at least take the time to get to know what you are talking about. Because in this particular case, if you really know and understand what you're talking about, then you know that none of the gun control that you are seeking to push, none of it will ever be effective. Because now the cat is out of the bag. People have the ability to go around. You know, when he talks about the industrial complex, he's not just talking about the government. He's talking about big companies and corporations, the Rugers, the Glocks, the Smith & Wessons of the world. People have the ability to go around them to make their own firearms if they need to. And there's no way you are going to stop that. You can make it illegal, but keep in mind the people who you don't want to have firearms, yeah, they're already breaking the law. You don't want them to have firearms because they're going to break the law. So what do the stupid little laws that you're putting in place, the laws that say you have to do this and you have to have this permit and that permit, what good are those going to do to someone who really isn't interested in following the law, who is more than willing to break the law so that he can create a weapon with which he can go and break the law? I know I know I get it, and I know a lot of you out there get it, but unfortunately, they will not get it. And so, in the end, you have folks like this individual here who, you know, is we'll call him. He's a bit of an anarchist. You know, I think he's a very intelligent guy. I think he knows and understands and has a really good understanding of liberty. The challenge with liberty is always this. The challenge with freedom and rights is that they're inherently dangerous. They're inherently dangerous because they can be prone to abuse. And when people abuse their rights and their liberties, that's what we have a system by which we come together and we punish that person for doing so. The problem is that there are many on the left in the anti-gun community who want to penalize people, who want to take away people's liberty for fear that they might abuse it. And that in and of itself is not what is so anti-American. I cannot even begin to explain just how much it infuriates me. But you cannot take away liberty for fear that someone will abuse it. You can punish them if they do abuse it, but you can't take it away. And that's what he's talking about here. What Cody Wilson is talking about here and what he's doing with the Ghost Gunner and with the Liberator is he's sending a message. He's sending a message that, you know, we're going to exercise our liberty. You cannot take this away. You cannot take away our liberty and not expect a response. You know, he's doing it probably a lot earlier and a lot more preemptively than a lot of people would. But I think he's sending a message, and I think that's his goal. I don't think he wants to be an arms manufacturer. I think he wants to give people the ability and the wherewithal to be able to exercise their liberty in the way in which that lets the government know that you cannot restrict our liberties. Because here's the thing, folks, if they can restrict our right to keep and bear arms, then they can restrict our free speech rights, as they tried to do here. If they can restrict your Second Amendment rights, they can restrict your due process rights, your private property rights. You name it, they can do it. So let's challenge them back. Let's challenge the government and let them know you cannot take away our liberty, period. And that's his message. I think it's an interesting one. It's one that, to a certain degree, I happen to agree with. And I'm sure a lot of you out there do as well. And all right, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the Firearms Policy Coalition. We are the home in the fight for civil rights. Got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.